guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's crack real math. My name is Viraaj, and in this video we'll be having a look at how we can find the length of a line in a straight line graph. So before we start, please do not forget to perform an LSS, that is like, share and subscribe, and without further ado, let's start. So before I go into some examples, we need to know a formula and take note of a formula. So basically, the length of a line from two given coordinates is simply equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now this may look very long and hard to memorize at first, but with practice you will eventually get used to it. And of course the two coordinates that will be given to you will be in the form of something like this: x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. And all you have to simply do is just substitute your values over here into the formula and then get your eventual answer. So let's have a look at the first example. The first example tells me to find the length of a line from the two coordinates minus 3, 7 and 6, minus 2. Now we know our formula, which is here. This is the formula of the length of a line, and we know that from the two coordinates that I've been given, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So all I have to do is substitute the values into the formula. So this will now become square root of minus 3 minus sorry, not minus 3, 6 minus 3 squared plus minus 2 minus 7 squared, all squared. Now if you take a look, all I did is substituted the values. So x1 went over here, x2 went here, because you are subtracting you're subtracting x1 from x2, and then similarly you're subtracting y1, which is here, from y2, which is here. Now simplifying this further, we will now have something like this: square root of 9 squared plus minus 9 squared. Now why 9? Because 6 minus 3 would give you 9, and as two minuses give you a plus. 2, take note, because minus is the most dangerous sign in math, and minus 2 minus 7 is minus 9. Now we all know that whenever a minus integer, let's say minus a is anything, any integer, whenever a minus number is squared, the answer you get is simply the positive of that. So whenever a negative number is squared, the answer will always be positive. So we know that this will now be 9 squared, that's 9 times 9, that's 81, plus minus 9 squared, so that's minus 9 times minus 9, and that gives 81, because the two minuses come together and give you a positive. So this is also 81, and 81 plus 81 is nothing but square root of 162, and square root of 162 can be simplified even down to 9 root 2. But do take note that both of these can be taken as the correct answer. Both are correct. And that is the answer for that example. On to the next one. It says to me to find the length of the line of the 2 points 2, 1 and 8, 9. So again, knowing our formula, we will do x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this becomes 8 minus 2 squared plus 9 minus 1 squared. Now why 8 minus 2? Because 8 is your x2 and 2 is your x1, and we subtract 2 from 8. And then 9 minus 1 because 9 is your y2 and 1 is your y1, and you subtract 1 from 9 because you subtract y1 from y2. So doing this, you know this is the square root of 6 squared plus 8 squared. Going further, we know this is the square root of 36 plus 64, because 6 times 6 is 36, 8 times 8 is 64. Simplifying even further, 36 plus 64 is nothing but 100, and this is simply 10. Square root of 100 is 10, and that is your answer for that question. On to the next example. We have, it says to me to find the length of the line of the 2 points minus 7, 7 and 5, minus 5. So again, our formula we know is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this becomes 5 minus 7 squared plus minus 5 minus 7 squared. Now why 5 minus minus? Because we take our x2, and since there's already a minus 7 here, we have to, so it becomes 5 minus 7. Since you're already subtracting, you would eventually get a positive, as 2 minuses make a positive. So 5 minus 7, that's 5 plus 7, that is 12 squared, plus minus 5 minus 7, that's minus 12 squared. Now again, we know that if you square any negative integer, the answer is always positive. So 12 squared is 144, and minus 12 squared, that's minus 12 times minus 12, and that is also 144. The minus cancels and becomes positive. This was 144 plus 144. This becomes the square root of 288, and this is the same as 12 root 2. Note that both these answers can be taken as the correct answer. That is the answer for that example. And on to the final example. It says to me to find the length. Okay, it doesn't tell me to find the length actually. I have 7, a and a plus 1, 9. And okay, let's just write this a again. This is a. And they gave me the length. They're saying to me that the length of the line is given, and that is 15. And they want me to find the value of a. So this is although a challenge question. So do pause the video and have a go at this by yourself, and then resume the video to see if you are correct or incorrect. If you are incorrect, please take note of your mistake. Now we need to find what is 1 and what is a rather, sorry, and we have been given the length. So you know what, let's actually write our formula down. This will help. We know our formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and we know that at least in this case it's all equal to 15 because they gave us the length to be 15. Now this is our x1, this is our y1, this is our x2, this is our y2. A plus 1 are a whole unit. So if we substitute this into our equation, all we have to do then is just solve for a. So let's actually quickly do that. We know it will now be the square root of x2 minus x1. x2 is a plus 1 minus x1, which is 7. So this is minus 7 all squared plus y2 minus y1. y2 is 9 and y1 is a, so 9 minus a squared. And all of this is equal to 5. Now this becomes the square root of a plus 1 minus 7. This is simply a minus 6 squared. Why minus 6? Because you collect the like terms. 1 minus 7 is minus 6, and then plus 9 minus a squared equals 5. So all we have to do now is expand the brackets in the middle. Please, if you are uncomfortable in expanding brackets, please take a earlier look at my previous video, which was on expanding single, double and triple brackets. That would help. So we know that a minus 6 squared is simply a minus 6 into a minus 6, and we're adding all of that to 9 minus a into 9 minus a, and all of this is equal to 15. Alright, is it 15 or 5? It's 15. I'm not sure why I have 5 here, but sorry guys, it's 15, not 5. 15, 15. And this is not 9 minus a squared, this is 9 minus a and all of that squared. Okay, so continuing, if we expand all this, I'll do this quickly, but if you are unsure, please look at my video on brackets expansion. This should be a squared minus 12a plus 36 plus 81 minus 18a plus a squared. All of this is equal to 15. So collect your like terms. This will now be square root of 2a squared. Why 2a squared plus a squared plus a squared gives 2a squared. So we're done with those two. Minus 12a minus 18a, that's minus 30a. So we're done with those two. And 36 plus 81 is 17. Plus 117. Done with those two equals to 15. Now with our algebra knowledge, we know that if we want to get rid of the square roots, all we have to do is square both sides. So square the 15, we square this side, the roots will cancel out the square. We will now be left with 2a squared minus 30a plus 117 equals to 15 squared, and 15 squared is I think it's 225. Let's just quickly confirm. 15 times 15, yep, it is 225. It's equal to 225. So now let's take this 225 to the other side. We will now have 2a squared minus 30a plus 117 minus 225, because positive comes if it becomes minus, and 117 minus 225 is minus 108 equals to 0. Now this is a quadratic equation we have here. So if you do not know how to solve a quadratic equations, you can look at my previous video on how to solve quadratic equation using both the formula method and the factorization method. So I'm just going to quickly do it. This is simply a minus 18 if you factorize it, and this is a plus 3 equals to 0. So we now have a minus 18 equals to 0, or we have a plus 3 equals to 0. So a over here is 18 because minus 18 goes over to the other side and becomes positive, or a is minus 3 because the positive 3 goes to the other side and becomes minus. And those are your two final answers for the challenge question. So that's it guys. Of course you can check both of your answers by inputting them back into the original question, which was this over here. You could put them back into your a's and a plus 1 over here, and then see using the formula if you are getting 15 or not. So thank you for watching guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please do perform an LSS, that is like, share and subscribe. Also please feel free to ask any questions, give any feedback or any corrections in the comments below. Thank you for watching guys. Have a nice one.